Well, on the Fatboy show today, there's an interesting new development. We have long suspected that Norbert Mao had a hand in securing the release of the two embattled opposition MPs, Honorable Mohamed Ssegirinya and Allan Ssewanyana, who were arrested on suspicion of conspiring to engage in acts of terrorism, the machete attacks that took place in Masaka. They were in some way implicated in that, or at least that is the suspicion. They were charged and held in remand for the longest time. Well, anyway, they finally had their day in court in which they applied for bail, and they finally got it, for which Norbert Mao, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, is taking partial credit. He said that he started pursuing their release before even being appointed minister, and he said he did not do it for politics, but for the families of the victims. I don't understand, because and when he says victims, does he mean victims of the machete attacks? Does he mean just the families?
No, he means the members of parliament, because they're the victims that have been in jail without and had been, forbid.
But that's an interesting choice of words.
Bail.
Why would he not instead say suspects?
I think deep down he knows that they are being victims because the state intentionally refused to give them bail, which is their constitutional right.
Because by referring to them as victims, he is almost presuming their innocence, which I understand you should. There should always be the presumption of innocence. But to say victim, it goes beyond that. You're not presuming innocence until proven guilty.
Well,
you are actually suggesting that they were wronged in some way.
That's it. So probably after everything has been said and done, the writing is on the wall that the members of parliament could actually be innocent. I mean, think about it. Why is it that of all of the people that have been jailed, maybe since they began to this day, why is it that these two members of parliament didn't get bail? They were released at some point last year, and then they were rearrested just outside the prison.
All right, so I guess that in a way does indeed make them victims.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've been talking about how no one else seems to have wanted to take credit for securing their release.
Yes.
We had Bobby Wine, who said he had nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Matthias Mbuga, leader of opposition, same thing.
He even went ahead to offer his parliamentary seat and the leader of opposition position, saying that if someone has evidence that he did it, that he brokered negotiations, then he will resign.
Okay, so the Chief Justice also pronounced himself on the issue of how the trial shall be conducted, saying he will not tolerate any dilly-dallying.
After, of course, tolerating dilly-dallying for
the longest time, right? But I don't know if it's too premature to speculate on what the outcome of this trial will be. I lean more towards an acquittal. I don't think there's much that they can go on.
Honestly speaking, that's where I lean myself. But I can't wait to see how this is going to turn out. Are they going to turn from opposition to NRM? Because this is what usually happens. The state puts you in a corner, and before you know it, they are pledging allegiance to, the highest office in the land and the shinest color in the land.
Well, that might be the case. As I understand it, they're not even being charged specifically with participating in the killings, but in some way conspiring to orchestrate them. How is that something you can prove?
So they're, conspiring because according to the prosecution, and that is the state, it said that they were funding the machete activities, that they met with some of the murderers, gave them money, I think maybe for transport and other, needs, so that they could go ahead and carry out this. And of course, when you do that, you are aiding and abetting terrorism.
And I haven't ever heard a sufficient or convincing motive being proposed as to why they would do this, because this wasn't even their constituency. Well, it's an area far removed from their sphere of influence. It just, at least for me, left me scratching my head mostly.
I know that's what it looks like, but also maybe give, if you were to give the state a benefit of doubt, if you're to carry out a crime, would you go to your constituency, or you'd go somewhere far where nobody would expect you to be the one to have, aided that?
What would the motive be?
I know.
Perhaps my memory is failing.
What boggles the mind.
My memory might be failing me, but as I understand it, these weren't like thieves. Were they robbing the victims?
No,
or
actually,
they weren't even robbing
they were
them?
not even attacking well-to-do families. They would go and find a woman, an old woman living in a grass-thatched house, and
Exactly.
maim
So
her.
what possible
So-
reason would they have to terrorize this area over which, they don't represent that area?
Well, one would say that probably they wanted to make government look bad, that they haven't done well as far as security of the citizens is concerned.
Really?
I mean, you can argue anything. Of course, it takes a lot for it to hold.
Yeah, I understand. But even that would be a stretch, I think.
I know.
But I guess we'll wait to see what, case the prosecution presents.
But now, according to Observer, there is an article I read in the Observer, and they are saying that the lawmakers, broken by prison hardships, begged for a politically driven negotiation with the government way back in September last year when they made 1 year in prison. So, at least according to the article, if you want to read the article, it is in the Observer newspaper. They're saying that they themselves, the members of parliament, asked the leader of opposition, Matthias Mpuga, to talk to anyone, whether it's the president, to see that they get out of prison.
Well, it's a big mess, this case.
I know.
But we'll keep following it and update you accordingly.